All right, everybody. Gabe Jenkins back with you, coming live from the CCA College of Career Accelerator, accelerating your future. Hope you're having a lot of fun with this. When I saw this shape for the first time, it was a little intimidating. It was a little bit like, wow, that's kind of a quantum leap above what we have been doing previously. And indeed, there are a couple of techniques here in this shape that you will not have had to use before. And so, if you have not watched the video about revolving boss bases and how to turn a two-dimensional contour or two-dimensional profile into a three-dimensional solid by rotating it around a central axis, please go back and watch that. Watch it first. It will just make a lot more sense to you kind of how this process works if you have watched that video. I hope. If I've done a good job in the video. But looking at it, like you see that this is not easily the kind of shape you would just take a two-dimensional thing and just extrude it, make it fatter, and then build it that way. It's different. The key thing to notice here is that this is a shape that is it's symmetrical in a different kind of way. It's symmetrical in a central axis way. It's radially symmetric. It comes out from a center point, and it looks the same. It's cylindrical in its basic geometry, right? And so what you see here are like a side view, a view of the end of it, which ends up being very helpful for you as you're trying to figure out how far each of these little things digs in. And you have a section view of it, so it shows you if you took it, if you just kind of sliced right through this shape right here, which parts would be solid and which parts would be hollow, right? So anyway, section view is this right here, and it's showing what it would look like across the cutting plane line from A to A. So that if you just sliced it this way and opened it up, what would it look like, right? So in this preview video, I'm not going to walk you through everything. I'm just going to show you really quickly, hopefully quickly, all the steps that were used to create it. The other thing that's going to be new here is going to build on what you learned in AutoCAD two-dimensional drawing, which is the idea of establishing, in AutoCAD it was called a polar array. Here it's going to be called a circular pattern. Okay, so it's going to be a similar idea, though. It's like you have a certain shape that you want to cut out around a central axis. All right, so here's where we are. This is the shape over here. By the way, pretty cool looking shape. I made this one out of mahogany, which I thought was kind of neat. It's got different kinds of wood that you can make materials out of in SolidWorks. I haven't really addressed this really quickly, but if you want to change how it kind of looks in terms of the background of stuff, you can play with some of this stuff. Some people like the shadows on. Some people like the shadows off. I don't know. It's up to you to kind of make it look the way you think helps you visualize the object best. Okay, maybe it's best if it's just kind of like all that stuff is just off. Anyway, there we go. So here's the steps. The very first thing I did was I looked at this. I looked at that side view right there and made a sketch. And my sketch was kind of looked like this. It's not super complex. It's just pretty simple like that. And I'm going to rotate it around that axis right there, right? When I did that, I did a revolve boss base feature, which if you've watched the video, you know what that means. And I rotated it around that thing, around that central axis. Next, I cut out this little cutout slot tool. You're going to need to use this tool. It's called the slot tool, so you can look up. It's kind of like an expanded oval. There's like two circles joined with two straight lines. So I used the slot tool to create that basic shape, and you can see that's what it looks like. It's a little hard to see in that video, but that's what it looked like. Made a slot, and I had to read the diagram pretty carefully in order to make sure I got those dimensions right. Right, so I cut that hole out of the shape, so you can see it there. That's what it looks like. Next thing I did was get ready for it. I cut a shape out of the end. I made a little rectangle and I cut it out so you can see. Let me change this so that it's. Let me just highlight the whole feature. You can see I cut that shape out, and I had to look carefully at the dimensions to see how far that cut goes in and what the dimensions of that cut actually were, right? So I did that, and then based on an earlier video, you saw how you can make an axis. I made an axis down the center point of this whole shape, and then I went to the circular pattern. I took it, let me zoom out a little bit. Before, there was just one cut. Then after I did the circular pattern, I now have 3 cuts. Okay? Maybe try to figure that one out on your own. You're going to find it under the Features tab. You're going to find it right here. Instead of linear pattern, you're going to see circular pattern. This allows you to take some features that you've created, whether it's a cut or a shape, and you can mirror them or cut things out or make them go around the central axis like a circular pattern, or you can do a linear pattern, making them in line, columns and rows. All of that is available to you under the Features tab, right here under Patterns. And then lastly, boom, once I had those 3 things cut out, I then cut a central hole out all along the whole central axis so that it was there. If you want to play around with seeing section views, this is how you do it. Right up here, remember all of these tools here just change how things look to you. So you can zoom in on things or zoom to a specific area. If you want to go back to how the previous view you had was, it's right there. Section view is right here, right? So it allows you to see if you cut it right there, what would it look like on the interior of the shape, right? So you can kind of move in or out, move forward or backwards through the shape. I'm kind of moving like this. I'm moving forward and backwards through the shape just to see what it looks like at various points on the interior of it. Anyway, so that's how you do a section view. I'm not going to do the section view right now. So that is how the shape is created. It's a multiple new tools here. It's more complex, more fun, but this is what I hope you see. You get to start developing some really cool shapes in SolidWorks. The more tools you know, the more cool things you can make. All right, that's it, everybody. Good luck.